It was 2 a.m. on a cold November night in 1995. The apartment building in No One Gu, Seoul, stood quiet under the winter stars. Inside apartment 403, 23-year-old Jihee Park hunched over her medical textbooks, her desk lamp the only light in the darkness. In 3 weeks, she would take the medical licensing exam. 8 years of poverty, part-time, jobs, and relentless studying had led to this moment. Then she smelled smoke. At first, she thought it was coming from outside. Then she heard screaming. She threw open her door and saw flames crawling up the hallway. Walls like living creatures. "Mom! Dad!" She ran to her family's room. Her parents were trying to break through the window. Her grandmother sat on the bed, too frail to move. And there, huddled in the corner, were her 14-year-old twin siblings Minseo and Minwoo, their identical faces frozen in terror. Her mother grabbed her arm with desperate strength. "Take them! Jihee, take them and run! I can't leave you! You have to! They need you!" Her father was already pushing the twins toward her. "Go now!" Jihee grabbed both twins by their hands and pulled them toward the emergency exit. Behind her, she heard the sickening crack of the ceiling giving way. She tried to turn back, but neighbors in the stairwell held her. As she screamed, as she fought, as her world collapsed. By the time the fire trucks arrived, it was too late. Her parents and grandmother were gone. At the hospital, Jihee sat in the emergency waiting room, her clothes reeking of smoke. Minseo clung to her left side. Minwoo hadn't spoken a single word since they escaped. A social worker approached with a clipboard. "You're the oldest, correct? 23?" Jihee nodded numbly. "Then you're the legal guardian now. You need to sign these papers." Jihee looked down at her bag, where her medical exam registration form peeked out. The exam was in 3 weeks. She had studied for 8 years through poverty, through hunger, through everything. If she passed, she would become a doctor. Finally, after everything. Minseo's hand trembled in hers. Minwoo's eyes were empty, staring at nothing. She took the pen and signed. The insurance money lasted exactly 6 months. Jihee's medical licensing exam came and went. She never showed up. Instead, she stood behind the counter of a convenience store from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then she rushed to a factory for the night shift, assembling electronics until dawn. 4 hours of sleep. Wake up. Do it again. The twins needed everything. Therapy for the trauma, school supplies, decent food, a stable home. Each expense was a calculation, each purchase a negotiation with despair. "Nuna, you should take the exam again next year," Minseo pleaded one evening, watching her sister count coins at the kitchen table. "Later, when you two are settled." But later kept receding like the horizon, because something remarkable began to emerge from the ashes of their tragedy. Minseo showed exceptional talent in mathematics. At 15, she was solving problems that baffled her teachers. She needed special tutoring, advanced classes, opportunities. And Minwoo, after 6 months of silence after therapy sessions, where he sat mute and frozen, began speaking again through music. He sat at an old piano in the community center and played. Not well at first, but with such raw emotion that passers-by stopped to listen. Within a year, teachers were calling him a prodigy. Both needed special schools, expensive lessons, equipment, opportunities. Jihee added a 3rd job cleaning offices at night, then a 4th job as a cleaning woman at Songdo General Hospital. Ironically, the same hospital where she had once dreamed of, wearing a white coat and saving lives. Her medical textbooks sat in a box, gathering dust. Every quarterly visit, the social worker asked the same question. "You're only 25. You could put them in foster care and live your life." And every time, Jihee gave the same answer: "They're not burdens. They're my family." But at night, alone in the dark after the twins slept, she did the math. Minseo and Minwoo would need support through high school, then university, then graduate school if their talents continued to bloom. 15 years minimum. She would be 40. Her dreams would be dust by then. She never said this aloud. In 1999, Minseo won a full scholarship to Korean Science Academy, the country's most prestigious science high school. That same year, Minwoo was accepted to Seoul Arts High School, personally recommended by a renowned pianist who heard him play. Both schools were free, except for the materials fees. The special programs, the competition travel, the equipment, the everything else. Jihee sold their grandmother's jewelry. She sold the piano their mother had saved for years to buy. She sold everything of value from their old life. And still it wasn't enough. One night, as she was mopping the floors of Songdo General Hospital's emergency department, a doctor stopped in the hallway. Dr. Kang, head of emergency medicine. He stared at her, recognition dawning on his face. "You're Jihee Park, from the medical school class of '95? She froze, mop in hand, suddenly aware of her cleaning uniform, her worn hands, her exhausted face. Yes, that was another life. Dr. Kang looked at her for a long moment. What happened? Family happened. The next week, Dr. Kang called her into his office and offered her a position as a medical assistant. Better pay, better hours, closer to medicine than cleaning floors, even if it wasn't what she'd studied for. She accepted. It was enough to reduce her jobs from 4 to 3. The years blurred together. Minseo topped every exam, won every competition. At 17, she was featured in national news as a mathematical genius. Minwoo performed at the Seoul Arts Center, received standing ovations, was called the voice of a generation. When teachers asked about their parents, they always said the same thing: our sister raised us. But when reporters wanted to interview the family, Jihee always refused. She didn't want them to see her worn hands, her gray-streaked hair at 30, the decades she had aged in just 8 years. In 2004, the letters arrived. Minseo had been accepted to MIT with a full scholarship. Minwoo had been admitted to Juilliard, also with full funding. Jihee was 32 years old. She had raised them. They were ready to fly. At Incheon Airport, as she watched them prepare to board separate flights to their separate dreams, Minseo suddenly broke down sobbing. "Nuna, come with us. Take the medical exam. Start again. I'm too old now." "You're 32. That's not old." "I haven't studied in 12 years. That ship has sailed." Minwoo, who rarely spoke about anything serious, looked at her with intensity. "Then what was it all for? If you don't live, what did you save us for?" The question echoed in her head during the entire bus ride home. In the empty apartment, the twins' rooms now. There she found the box with her old medical textbooks. She opened one with trembling hands. The words blurred through her tears. She was 12 years behind. The medical field had advanced dramatically. New treatments, new technologies, new everything. She remembered almost nothing. Starting over would mean competing against 22-year-olds. With fresh minds and no responsibilities. She closed the book, but she didn't throw it away. Instead, she enrolled in nursing school. Not a doctor, but something. Something in medicine. Something that mattered. 2 years, manageable while working. She could survive that. Dr. Kang became her mentor. "You're the most dedicated student I've ever seen," he told her. "You'll be the best nurse this hospital ever has." It wasn't medicine, but it was healing. She could live with that. She had to. By 2008, Jihee had become one of Songdo General Hospital's top ICU nurses. She worked with precision, with compassion, with instincts that seemed almost supernatural. Doctors requested her specifically for their most critical cases. Across the ocean, her siblings were becoming remarkable. Minseo graduated from MIT at 22 and immediately entered Stanford's PhD program in artificial intelligence. Her dissertation focused on machine learning applications in medical, diagnostics computers that could detect diseases earlier and more accurately than human doctors. Minwoo became a celebrated concert pianist. Vienna, New York, Tokyo, London. Critics called him a genius, a virtuoso, the pianist, who made Chopin weep from heaven. They returned to Korea regularly, staying with Jihee in her small apartment. But she noticed something troubling. Despite their success, neither seemed happy. Minseo was brilliant but isolated. She worked 18-hour days, had no friends, no relationships. She communicated better with computers than people. Minwoo was famous but fragile. Before every performance, he had panic attacks. The trauma of the fire still lived inside him, waiting. One night, after Minwoo canceled yet another concert due to anxiety, they sat together in Jihee's living room. Minseo spoke first. "We don't know how to be happy, Nuna. You gave us everything, but you never taught us how to live without guilt." Minwoo nodded. "Every achievement feels hollow, because we know what you gave up. How do we carry that?" Jihee realized with horror what she had done. In sacrificing herself completely, she had taught them that love meant self-erasure. Her gift had become their curse. "You have to let me go," she said quietly. "Not forget me, but stop living for me. I made my choice. Now make yours." But even as she said it, she wondered, had she truly chosen? Or had circumstances chosen for her? In 2016, everything changed. Minseo's research culminated in a breakthrough, an AI diagnostic system called Jihee, named after her sister. The system could detect diseases at stages, so early that human doctors would miss them. It analyzed symptoms, medical histories, and genetic markers with unprecedented accuracy. The system was implemented across major Korean hospitals. Cancer detection rates improved by 40%. Thousands of lives were saved. At the award ceremony at the Blue House, where Minseo received the National Science Medal, she gave an unusual speech. "This technology exists because my sister couldn't become a doctor. She had the mind, the dedication, the calling. But 21 years ago, she chose us instead. So I built something that could diagnose like she would have, with precision and with heart. Every life this system saves is because of her sacrifice. This isn't my achievement. It's hers." She turned to Jihee in the audience, tears streaming down her face. "Nuna, you're 44. Medical schools in Korea accept mature students now. The entrance exam is in 3 months. I've already registered you. Will you try, please?" The audience of scientists, politicians, and journalists gasped collectively. Minwoo stood up from his seat. "You gave us 15 years. Let us give you the next 30. Jihee sat frozen. Around her, 1,000 people waited for her answer. She thought about the girl who had signed guardianship papers at 23, the woman who had cleaned hospital floors at night, the nurse who had learned to settle for close enough. And she thought about the doctor she had always wanted to be. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, "Yes." The audience erupted in applause. At 45 years old, Jihee Park entered medical school. She was older than some of her professors. Her classmates were young enough to be her children. They called her Auntie at first, some mockingly. She didn't care. She studied like her life depended on it because, in a way, it did. This was her life, the one she had postponed, the one she had packed away in a box of dusty textbooks. While her younger classmates complained about the workload, she excelled. She had seen death. She had lived poverty. She had sacrificed everything. She knew exactly why medicine mattered. Minseo's AI system, Jihee, was installed in Songdo General Hospital, the very place where she had once pushed a mop. Dr. Kang, now the hospital director and nearing retirement, laughed when he saw her in her white medical student coat. 22 years late, but you made it. Better late than never. In 2018, Minwoo composed a piano concerto titled The Sister Who Disappeared. It premiered at the Seoul Arts Center with the National Philharmonic Orchestra. The program notes told their story: the fire, the sacrifice, the resurrection. She disappeared into our lives so completely that she forgot she existed. Minwoo wrote in the program, "This piece is her reappearing. It begins in darkness and flames, descends into a long, quiet middle section of repetitive, almost mechanical rhythms, the years of work and sacrifice. Then, in the final movement, a single theme emerges that has been hidden in the background all along. It grows, it blooms, it becomes magnificent. That's my sister. She was always there. We just couldn't see her." Jihee attended the premiere in her medical student uniform. When Minwoo took his bow, he gestured to her in the audience. The entire concert hall, over 2,000 people, stood and applauded. Not for the music, but for her. She had never felt so seen. During her 3rd year of residency in emergency medicine, on a humid August evening in 2021, a massive fire broke out in a commercial building in Gangnam. The emergency call went out, all available personnel to respond. Jihee was on duty when the first ambulances arrived. The chaos, the smoke, the screams. It was 1995 again. She froze for one terrible moment, transported back to the night she lost her parents, the night that changed everything. Then her training kicked in. She ran toward the flames. For 12 hours straight, she treated burn victims. She triaged critical cases. She made impossible decisions about who could be saved and who couldn't. She sutured wounds. She intubated patients. She held the hand of a dying man and told him he wasn't alone. When it was over, 17 people survived who shouldn't have. The other doctors stared at her in awe. A reporter approached as she was finally leaving the hospital at dawn, still, in her bloody scrubs. "Dr. Park, witnesses say you were incredible. What made you so effective in such chaos?" Jihee looked at the sunrise over Seoul. 26 years since that night. 26 years of carrying the fire with her everywhere she went. I've been preparing for this moment for 26 years, she said quietly. I wasn't ready before. I am now. She had transformed her trauma into expertise. The night that destroyed her family had forged her into the doctor, who could save others from the same fate. Present day, the new medical center stands on the exact spot where the No-won-gu apartment building once burned. The Park Family Memorial Hospital specializes in burn treatment and trauma care. Its emergency wing is the most advanced in East Asia. Minseo funded its construction. Minwoo performed at fundraising galas around the world. And Jihee is its director of emergency medicine. On the wall of the main entrance hang 4 portraits, their parents and grandmother, painted from the one photograph that survived the fire. Below them, a plaque reads, "They gave us life. She gave us the chance to live it." On the opening day, the 3 siblings stand together in the lobby as patients. Doctors and journalists flow around them. Minseo now heads Korea's National AI Research Institute. Her diagnostic systems have spread to 40 countries, saving an estimated 100,000 lives per year. Minwoo has taken a sabbatical from performing to teach at Seoul Art School. I was so focused on being great that I forgot to help. Others become great, he explains. That's what Nuna did for us. I want to do that too. A young girl approaches them, her arms and face showing the still healing scars of burns. Her mother bows deeply to Jihee. Dr. Park, my daughter was in the Gangnam fire. You saved her life. She wants to study medicine because of you. Jihee kneels to the girl's eye level. The girl can't be more than 14, the same age. The twins were when everything changed. It's a long road, Jihee says gently. You'll sacrifice a lot. I know, the girl says with certainty. But you taught me something. Sacrifice isn't losing yourself. It's finding out who you really are. Jihee feels tears spring to her eyes. She pulls the girl into a gentle hug. That evening, after the ceremony's end, the 3 siblings share ramyeon in Jihee's office, just like they used to in their tiny post-fire apartment. 26 years, Minseo says, shaking her head. You waited 26 years to become yourself. No, Jihee corrects her. I became myself in those 26 years. I just didn't recognize her yet. The girl who wanted to be a doctor at 23? She would have been good. But the woman who became a doctor at 45? She's great. Because she knows what it costs. She knows what matters. She knows why she's here. Outside the window, Seoul glitters in the darkness. 10 million lights. 10 million stories. Somewhere in those lights, other sisters are sacrificing. Other families are struggling. Other dreams are being postponed. But somewhere, too, they will rise. They will reclaim themselves. They will discover that what they gave away was secretly building something stronger, inside them all along. Minwoo looks at his sisters. Do you ever wish it had been different? That the fire never happened? Jihee considers this. I wish our parents were here. I wish Grandma could see us now. But do I wish I hadn't raised you two? No, never. You became my purpose when I had none. You gave me a reason to be strong when I wanted to give up. And eventually, you gave me back to myself. We didn't give you back, Minseo says. You were always there. We just helped you remember. The 3 of them sit in comfortable silence, watching the city lights below. The fire took everything. But from those ashes, 3 pillars rose connected, unbreakable, burning with a light that no darkness could ever extinguish. Sometimes we lose ourselves in loving others. But if we're fortunate, if we're brave, if we hold on long enough, we discover that we were never truly lost. We were becoming, and what we become is often far greater than what we dreamed of being. This was the story of Jihee Park, the sister who disappeared, the woman who returned, the doctor who was worth waiting for.